Before we start the video, make sure to subscribe to our channel, The Forgotten Files. Also, drop a comment below telling us where in the world you're watching from and what time it is. Alright, let's get started. In 1863, a Boston medical seminary received a black orphan named Eliza Davis, rescued from a Louisiana plantation that burned to the ground under circumstances no survivor could describe. Eliza spoke languages no one taught her, solved mathematical proofs not yet discovered, recounted strangers' memories with unsettling accuracy. Doctors thought she was gifted. Missionaries thought she was cursed. Eliza insisted on something darker. She said she carried borrowed knowledge, and the original owners were still searching for her. Before Boston, Eliza's hometown existed on parish maps. After 1863, it didn't. Not destroyed, removed. The seminary's historian, Dr. Milford Gray, attempted to contact the parish in which Eliza was recorded as living. Every letter returned unopened, stamped only with, "Do not seek what the child carries." Newspaper fragments revealed a pattern: strange nocturnal deaths, victims frozen as if caught mid-confession. Only one name appeared consistently, the Davis family, and one line, whispered by a lone witness. The girl remembers things she never lived. Eliza denied surviving the disaster. She said she had been taken before the town, chose silence over truth. Eliza completed scholarly exams in seconds, reconstructed texts she had never seen. She corrected professors mid-sentence with information decades ahead of its time. When asked how she knew so much, she said, "It's older than you think. Older than all of this." One professor accused her of trickery. Eliza calmly recited the man's dead brother's final words, a detail never documented. The room went still. The seminary's board debated her fate behind closed doors. Eliza warned them gently. "Every question you ask me wakes them louder." But the men continued anyway. Eliza described her knowledge as voices, but not in the way asylums understood. She said they belonged to people whose lives ended before their stories did. Enslaved men and women who died with truths trapped in their bodies. According to her, their memories leaked into her mind like water through cracked stone. She never called them spirits. She called them the unfinished. She said they followed her because she could hold what they couldn't speak. And worse, because someone in her hometown tried to silence them permanently. When Dr. Gray pressed her for details, she replied only, "They weren't protecting me. They were protecting themselves from what I carry." Behind the public fascination with Eliza was a darker institutional agenda. The seminary's board saw the wartime future approaching. A child capable of predicting events, of revealing hidden crimes, was a threat to men who built their reputations on controlled narratives. Funding documents uncovered decades later revealed the truth. Eliza was never meant to be studied. She was meant to be contained. The board hired a private archivist to examine her memories. He resigned within 1 week, muttering only, "The things she knows were buried for a reason." Eliza seemed aware of their plan. She began sleeping with her hands over her ears, whispering that the unfinished were becoming restless. On the 14th night, Eliza's condition changed. She no longer spoke in singular phrases. Her voice shifted, layered, plural, almost braided with tones that were not her own. She walked through the seminary halls, touching walls, murmuring names that had never appeared in any Boston registry. Names of enslaved families buried without markers. Names erased intentionally. When a physician demanded she stop, Eliza looked at him through tears that weren't quite her own and said, "They don't want justice. They want to be remembered correctly." That night, several professors resigned. 2 left Boston entirely. Dr. Gray, torn between fear and duty, conducted one last interview. He asked Eliza what happened on the plantation the night of the fire. Eliza did not blink. She described plantation officials performing a ritual meant to strip memory from enslaved people, an attempt to sever identity, heritage, and history itself. But something went wrong. Instead of erasing memories, the ritual released them, pouring all the unspoken suffering, all the unfinished stories, into the nearest open vessel. Eliza, a child with no defenses. "They tried to break the dead," she said, "and the dead came to me instead." The seminary board concluded Eliza was too dangerous to keep alive. Not because she was a threat, but because the truths she carried could dismantle reputations, institutions, and entire political legacies built on silence. They prepared a transfer order to send her to a remote asylum in Maine under a false name. Eliza somehow obtained the document before Gray did. She placed it on his desk, calmly saying, "They can hide me, but they can't hide what I know." Gray tried to protect her, but the board had already voted. Eliza was scheduled for removal at dawn. When guards entered Eliza's room the next morning, the bed was empty. No footprints. No forced entry. Only a single phrase written on the wall in charcoal. "You cannot cage what remembers." The seminary sealed the case. Students were forbidden to speak her name. All documents were stored in a private archive marked classified, indefinite. Dr. Gray resigned, later confessing in a private letter that he believed Eliza had not escaped. She had been claimed by the very memories she carried. In the decades that followed, professors reported strange occurrences in the old seminary wing. Pages turning without wind. Unfamiliar names written in margins. Students dreaming of people they had never met, from lives they had never lived. The seminary eventually condemned the building, not for structural failure, but because too many began reporting the same phrase whispered in the dark. Remember us correctly. No official record of Eliza Davis exists today. Not her birthplace. Not her death. Only scattered mentions and lost letters, and an empty file where her case should have been. But historians agree on one chilling possibility. Eliza never disappeared. She simply returned to the unfinished, carrying with her the truth that no institution, no church, no nation was ever prepared to face. And somewhere, in forgotten corners of American history, the stories she held are still waiting for someone unafraid to remember.